Fan-freaking-tastic, we're back here again. I know that's what every one of you right now watching this is saying right now. But I know I said in my Eden Zero Theory video on the Rational State Scholastica that I wouldn't be doing videos for my chapter reviews in this style and format. But I figured this would be a lot easier to get some of the chapters out. For the month of December, I am going to be doing these reviews in this style by the end of the year and see how you guys respond to this, because doing this, it'll be easier to edit and put together, and I'll be able to get these videos out a lot quicker. So I hope you guys enjoy this and see my physical reactions to what's going on in these chapters. So that's basically what I'm going for with this type of video. But before any of that, thank you for the good reception on the Rational State Scholastica video. It did pretty well, despite it being a little over a week and reaching almost 300 views. That's honestly pretty good for an Eden Zero video, regardless that isn't a chapter review, so I'm happy for that. Another reason why I'm doing these chapter reviews right now is because my usual editor that does these chapter reviews, I kind of have him doing a lot of stuff right now, so I want to ease off some of the things that I'm having him do so we can focus on the more bigger projects I plan to do before the end of the year and at the start of 2022. So yeah, look forward to some more stuff. And yes, Eden Zero Explained will be brought back onto the channel at some point. I know I keep promising that, but I want to make sure these videos are good, so please just wait a little bit longer. But anyway, there was no chapter review last week for chapter 169 of Eden Zero, so I'm sorry about that. I was getting a type of theory video on what we could see in the time skip for Eden Zero with 3 years going by, which should be up later this week, as it's still being worked on, which is why I'm doing this video as is. So chapter 170 takes off where 169 ended, which 169 did not have too much going on, primarily just set up for the time skip that we were getting and we are currently in. And chapter 170 is aptly titled 3 years later. And it starts off relatively nice. The Eden Zero crew are in the Kaide Cosmos in a particular planet. I cannot remember the name of it because it's only mentioned 2-3 times in the chapter. It's nothing too focused on in the story as it's not an arc. So excuse me for that. And it's in this town that we get to see the new character designs for half of the Eden Zero crew. Throughout this whole chapter, we get to see Shiki, Rebecca, Happy, Pino, Homura, Wise, and Hermit. These 7 characters, we get to see what they look like 3 years later. And only really Shiki, Hermit, Pino, and Rebecca kind of have actual differences in their character designs. Meanwhile, Happy is the same, and Homura and Wise look basically just the same, just a bit more mature, as they're all basically 18, 19 years old, respectively, right now. So, yeah. But anyway, the chapter starts off with Shiki walking through town with Pino. I'm not the biggest fan of Pino's new redesign, but it's grown on me throughout the chapter, so still has Pino's charm. But anyway, Shiki and Pino are walking through the town, and they notice that there are no humans there. It's all machines. And they're all going to be under Ziggy's control. So it shows that over the past 3 years, Ziggy has been going planet to planet using a virus to infect the machines so they can do a whole Terminator machine uprising like he did back on Foresta. And the Eden Zero crew seems to have been taking this opportunity to continuously free these planets. And we get to see Shiki do some really cool stuff. He's nonchalantly walking through the streets and using his ether gear to mess with the gravity all over the place, knocking all the robots down to the ground, and even throwing away all the vehicles like they're nothing. Just a straight up badass going right through the streets. And Pino's even using her EMP for these specific people, just so they can just get knocked out, so she doesn't have to fight them as they're not in their right minds and they were altered by Ziggy. We then get to see Hermit communicate with Shiki, as I'm honestly the biggest fan of Shiki and Hermit's redesigns. They're honestly my favorite redesigns of the cast so far. Hermit honestly looks like she has aged up, even though she's an android. The change in style actually makes her look a lot older than she was previously in the story. And Shiki looks like a straight up adult. Doesn't look like a teenager anymore. It looks like he's in his 20s. I mean, I'm not against it. The guy does seem like he's grown. But yeah, that's my general opinion on that. But anyway, Hermit states that the target that they're looking for, the machine that they're looking for, is like 600 meters down below. So Shiki uses gravity ether gear to create a hole in the ground to go to the base area where this machine is being used, which, as we can see throughout the chapter, is actually a machine that Ziggy has been using to corrupt all the machines on multiple planets. And we get the cut in with Rebecca, Happy, Homura, and Wise, as they're also tasked with shutting down these machines. And we get like a pretty quick fight scene as Shiki fights off this skeleton army. They're literally just called the skeleton army. It's not very creative. They're just Ziggy's troops that do what Ziggy says, that Ziggy has programmed personally himself to just follow his orders and everything. So Shiki has no qualms on fighting them, full on. But I don't know. It's the whole skeleton army thing just kind of makes me feel a little weird. I feel like it should have had like a cooler name. But skeleton army does fit. Maybe Ziggy just didn't really care too much on the naming aspect for just mindless drones that just do his bidding without any real personality. But whatever, it is what it is. And I'm taking too much time out of this video just complaining about that aspect. But anyway, Shiki wipes the floor with all these bots. Pino turns the machine off, erases the virus, and Rebecca, Happy, Homer, and Weiss do the same on their ends. And we learn on further in the chapter that they've been doing this for the past 3 years. They've been trying to track Ziggy, find different planets that he's been messing with, take out his army, and then help the bots of that planet return to normal, saving planets as they go along, being heroes. And I like that when everyone's reintroduced, Shiki is called the captain, the commander of the Eden Zero. Homura is still the Four Shining Stars. Wise is the ship's mechanic. Hermit still one of the Four Shining Stars. And Rebecca, interestingly, a very popular beekeeper now. So within 3 years, Rebecca has gotten a lot more popular, and she does I think daily or weekly live streams now on her channel, which is honestly pretty fun and interesting. Hey, maybe having Couchbone on the crew actually helped Rebecca actually make content that honestly does not suck. Oh man, that running, because I'll be honest, that running joke was kind of getting a little old. But yeah, so the Eden Zero crew, they dealt with Ziggy's forces on this planet in the Kaide Cosmos, and then we actually cut, interestingly enough, to Justice and Victory, as they're looking over the news that the Eden Zero managed to save another planet, and it's shown that within the last 17 years, they saved 17 planets from Ziggy, and they beat the Ratio States Galactica, and Justice in particular, basically to the punch every single time. They become real heroes, but Justice still says that they are far from being heroes. To beat the only thing they have in common is to beat Ziggy, and they're going by any means to do it. Primarily, he quotes that they're allying with Elsie, so I can only assume that over the 3 years they have come in contact with Elsie a couple of times. They have Drac and Joe's former team members on there, aka Laguna, Jin, and Clean, which I feel like we're gonna see them next chapter. I honestly hope that they have really cool redesigns. Same with Sister. If Hermit got a redesign, I honestly hope Sister gets a redesign, but even if she doesn't, I'm fine with it. I like Sister's design regardless. But yeah, so I like how Victory, even after 3 years, is not just going, okay, they're just bad, they're bad people, blah, blah, blah. Especially with what happened to Creed 3 years ago in the Alloy War. Meaning that Justice, while he's still holding a grudge, he cannot deny that they're doing actually good work, but his own sense of justice is just keeping him from possibly teaming up with them, his personal vendetta against Elsie, and the fact that they have 4 members of Drac and Joe's, crew, lackeys, as he calls them, on the crew. Without knowing any of the backstory, he just firmly assumes that even if he knew what was going on, I don't think he would, change his whole idea of justice for them. Regardless, I'm liking Victory more and more as he seems to be the voice of reason to Justice's, just full on. I feel like he has like a savior mentality or something like that. But yeah, but what I liked about this portion of the chapter, this very end, is that Justice actually gives us a very interesting piece of information. Shiki Grambel, now deemed as Demon King Shiki Grambel, has now been recognized as one of the Horatio 6 Galactica. So after 3 years, after everything that's happened, they're saying Justice's line is just, he is not the same boy that we met 3 years ago. The time to fight him is soon, and we get this awesome visual of Shiki in his aged up overdrive, which this might not even be his final overdrive design. I mean, I'd be alright with it. It looks pretty cool and badass. But he's been dubbed Demon King Shiki Grambel, and he is a member of the Irrational 6 Galactica. So I like how Shiki, after basically having 2 full sagas with the Eden Zero crew having to deal with the Irrational 6 Galactica, primarily Draken Joe beating him themselves, and everything going on with Nero and Shura, who both of them are insanely powerful, Shiki is now considered on the level of these galactic criminals. Now, Shiki hasn't done anything bad, but it does show that the Irrational 6 Galactica, aside from being criminals, also people that the Interstellar Union Army thinks are too powerful or too dangerous to be left roaming free. And there's also the fact that they have an unregistered ship too, so they're technically doing something illegal, but other than that, they've been actually helping. And it does seem that, I feel like out of the members of the Irrational 6 Interstellar, I think Eraser is the more level-headed one that won't just blindly assume things, and I think he, out of everyone, probably, if he had the chance to team up with the Eden Zero for a common goal, he would do it. I don't think he would care, because he seems to be the most level-headed member of these guys and the most rational, and not one-sided sense of justice, like Justice. I'm putting a video on Justice himself, on why he's actually, while he is a bit of frustrating with this whole like savior or hero complex that he's developed for himself, I feel like he's a good foil to Shiki with everything that's been going on. Even though they're on the same side, they're going to have to fight each other. So I'm planning on doing something for Justice himself somewhere down the line, hopefully before the end of the year. And again, it will be in this format maybe, or it'll be a fully edited theory video. But yeah, chapter 170, 3 years later. We get to see half the Eden Zero crew with their new designs, and just how strong Shiki himself is. We only got to see him fight fodder, but he just decimated them in seconds. And it shows that they've been doing stuff this last 3 years. They don't look super hard and edgy like how I saw. I saw spoiler images of the opening pages with Shiki's new design and Hermit's new design, and how Shiki was acting super serious. But it shows that by the end of this chapter that Shiki is still like the happy-go-lucky guy that we all know and love, just more mature about it. And I'm happy for that. I'm glad that their core personalities haven't changed. They're just more serious when they're doing these missions, because Ziggy is a threat to the universe, as they've established in the last chapter, and that was the reason why they needed these 3 years to get stronger and to deal with Ziggy. What I can't wait for is how strong everyone is, and when they get proper fights to show just how strong they can be. As well as, it's been 3 years, maybe the entire Eden Zero crew has overdrive. Maybe it's besides Rebecca, because with her caliber powers, I feel like an overdrive form of that will be kind of OP. But we just have to wait and see. But yeah, that was chapter 170 of Eden Zero. It was honestly a really good chapter, and I can't wait to read more. I gotta admit, this is, depending on how things go, I feel like this could be one of my favorite time skips in anime and manga. Maybe top 5, primarily because it just started, but it started off on a really good note, and I'm really happy for that, because Shiki being considered one of the Irrational 6 Galactica is more or less similar to how Luffy was recognized as one of the Yonko, like the 5th Yonko in One Piece, just because he has just entered Big Mom's territory, picked a fight, and escaped virtually unscathed. So I feel like that's kind of fun. And since there is another open slot in the Irrational 6 Galactica, I feel like maybe Ziggy is also considered a member of the Irrational 6 Galactica now, since he's an intergalactic criminal. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about this. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm gonna do this for the rest of December, and if these types of reviews do well, I will do them more often, and this might end up being the standard of reviews going into the future, as I can get them out a lot quicker. But as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to their channel. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers right now, so I really want to reach that before the end of the year. maybe before Christmas, please. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. I want to do more Eden Zero content in the future. And also, support me on Patreon and Ko-fi to help support the channel more directly so I can start making videos even more frequently and make more high quality video essay type videos, whether it be theories or discussion based content. That way I don't have to do it like this all the time. But yeah, also leave your comments down below on what you think is going to happen now with the time skip, how things have changed, and what do you think will happen next. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.